Hey Band Network Remote Teaching Series.
Hello, welcome to the Hey Band Network. Today we are in the Remote Teaching Series, Distance Learning, and we are with Hector Gil from Vista Ridge High School in Leander ISD up in the Austin, Texas area. Welcome to the Hey Band Network.
Hey, Chad, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Man, this should be a lot of fun. I saw a video about a week ago of your drumline online of doing remote teaching kids all over, and I was like, man, let's talk to this guy, find out what he's doing. So we'll get into that. But first of all, let's tell everybody about a little bit about where you teach, the programs you work, and you're a percussion director. So let's find out a little bit about what you do.
Sure, absolutely. So I teach at Vista Ridge High School. This is my 12th year there. Prior to that, I taught 2 years at TCU. I was a drumline instructor there. Prior to that, I was a band director down in Laredo at Laredo United High School. So this is my 18th year of teaching professionally. And so, yeah, just excited to be here.
Very cool. And so the program at Vista Ridge, let's talk about your percussion program, which is lots of accolades, and that band program has done fantastic things. Talk about the percussion side of things, of what you all offer.
Okay, well, so we have, my studio is about, I guess when you count, all the drumline members and double reeds and so on and so forth, my drumline is about 55, 56 kids. And middle school, I have about 35 kids down there. So I guess from 6th grade through 12th grade percussion, I'm teaching somewhere around 80 kids-ish, give or take, every year. Every year, obviously it's grown quite a bit. My first year at Vista Ridge, which was 2008, we had 16 kids in the entire percussion section at the high school. So we've obviously grown, a ton. And I have 4 private lesson teachers and 5 drumline techs, and so it's a whole collective team. And like I always tell everyone, it's definitely not just me alone doing this by any means. I have a lot of people that are part of the program and that help out. And so yeah, we've been fortunate to perform at PASIC one time with Vista Ridge in 2018, and with Henry Middle School in 2014. We were actually the first middle school to get selected to perform there. And then we have also performed at Midwest as a band program, not progressively, but as a band program in 2014. And then at Henry Middle School, we have performed at Team EA 3 times as the Triple C honor band. So those are just a few things that we've done that we're pretty proud of.
Yeah, you talked about it's not just you're getting this done. So let's talk about the people that help you out and help make this percussion program and band program so strong.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, for starters, we've got to acknowledge my head director, Mr. Brian Christian, who's kind of the kind of mans the whole ship, and I've been fortunate to have been his assistant, this entire time. And he's been at the campus. He opened up the campus actually in 2003. And so he's been the sole head director for Vista Ridge this entire time. So he's seen more peaks and valleys than I have, for sure, and so, but yeah, I mean, he's great. I love working with him. He's a fantastic mentor. Has always been extremely supportive and helpful, and I have always enjoyed working with him. And so he obviously teaches the top ensemble, the wind ensemble, and then we all obviously team teach every single band, whether it's contraband or marching band. But then the second instructor at the band director, I guess, at the high school is Reed Atkinson. He joined up with us in 2018. And he teaches the wind symphony. He also runs the marching band. And so same thing, it's a blessing to have him on our staff as well. Super smart individual. And, we all collaborate super well together. The third director is Zach Santos. He also joined up with us in 2018 as well. He is in charge of the symphonic band and the concert band. And like I said, we all team teach. We all get together and work with the kids, collectively. From a marching band side of things, he does a lot of the visual side of things, and so a lot of choreography, and just super smart. And he's had a lot of experience teching a lot of programs and some really successful programs, and has a really good drum corps background as well. He's also taught a few drum courses as well. So I think those three wing guys collectively, are just a fantastic team. And then our color guard side of things, we have Miss Erin Cosman. She joined up with us in 2017. And she's been fantastic. She's built the color guard program essentially from scratch. I believe when she took over as color guard director in 2017, that was the second year that we brought the color guard back. We had kind of a dance team for about 4 or 5 years or so. And then we brought the color guard back. And like I said, if I remember correctly, I think she took over the second year that we brought it back. And from, I think when she took over, it was maybe like 10 students in the guard. And now it's, I don't know, something like 40 or something like that, 40, 42. And so she's fantastic. And she has her team of color guard teachers as well. And of course, we have our long team of marching techs and percussion techs and so on and so forth. And so it's a whole team effort, and it's very collective and very inclusive. And so we all jump ideas off of each other. We all work super well together. And so I would definitely put it. I would say we're a dream team that I love being a part of.
All right, so we got a lot of great people at the high school. What about your middle schools, your staff? Who else helps out in this process?
And then at the middle school, so we have just a team of phenomenal educators that I'll be remiss if I did not mention their names, but we have Robert Herrings, head director at Henry Middle School. We have Darcy Williams Votes, head director at Stiles Middle School, and then their respective assistants, Kat Willer and Jenna Yee and Andrew Binkard and TJ West. And those are the band directors between both of the Henry and Stiles campuses. And then, of course, I have my long list of percussion educators that are on my team as well, that team teach between Vista Ridge and Henry Middle School and Stiles Middle School. We have Mr. Ivan Schrack, Jordan Walsh, James Neblett, Liam Kinini, Katie Rivers, Chris Sawyer, and Cameron Carbone. And so collectively, all those teachers, with the high school directors is kind of team Vista, essentially, between Vista, Henry, and Stiles.
And it's working, clearly, with all the success of the program.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
All right, cool. Let's jump into why we're here. We're here to talk about remote teaching. We're in some interesting times, as I like to say, with school closings, and we don't know how long we'll be in this. And so I saw some stuff you did and wanted to kind of talk about what you're doing with your 6th through 12th graders right now, and maybe give the listeners and viewers an idea of what you're doing. And then we'll dig into your project that we saw online also.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're still trying to kind of figure it all out a little bit, but I think we have it, for the most part, kind of a good system going. We are doing a lot of Zoom stuff with the kids. So every Tuesday and Thursday, for a half an hour, I get together with my 6th graders, and we essentially, it's kind of like what we're doing right here. They log on, they turn off their mics. They set up their pads and sticks kind of facing me, and I face them. And I just kind of sort of go through the class as if we were in a traditional class setting. And it's difficult, to kind of pinpoint, tendencies or rhythmic inaccuracies or heights or so on and so forth. But the most important thing for me is just an opportunity to just kind of see them, just kind of connect with them, make sure they're doing okay. And so we always kind of start off like, what did you do? There was something cool yesterday or whatever, and so that type of thing. And it's just, again, it's just an opportunity for me to see them, and we just kind of drum for about half an hour and kind of go through. Right now we're working on like what would have been their solo, their snare drum solo and their mallet solo. And so, yeah, so that's kind of what I'm doing with the 6th graders. The 7th graders, I get together with them right after the 6th graders for half an hour. And so very similar, we kind of go through like our typical like exercise packet that I have for them that's geared towards middle school kids. And we just go through a lot of the fundamentals, and since they all have kind of different solos, once again, to kind of 7th and 8th grade, it's impossible for me to kind of have a sectional with them on like their their literature. So most of that stuff is handled by their private lesson teachers. And so, but again, it's just really an opportunity for me to kind of connect with them, see their faces. We get the opportunity to drum and then kind of go from there. My 8th graders, actually, I joined them up with my high school students already in terms of whenever we get together and we do our Zoom sectionals. So we were fortunate. And I know we're like in a super small little group of schools that have already kind of done drumline auditions here. And it just so happened to work out that way. We always do our drumline auditions the week before spring break. It's not like I was, foretelling the future. I knew like what was going to happen and we were going to shut down. And it's just kind of what we've always done. So it kind of worked out well. So my students went into spring break and then went into the shutdown already knowing what instrument they're going to play for next year. So it's been easier to, okay, let's start working on the exercises for next school year. So we get together every Friday. My Fridays are pretty long because I kind of break up the sectionals with my students. And so I kind of have like a snare sectional and like a bass sectional. And my front ensemble tech is super instrumental as well. So he helps me out and does like a marimba sectional and a vibe sectional. And then my cymbal instructor also helps out, and she does a cymbal sectional with the students as well. So yeah, so it's like I said, it's a big team thing that we have kind of going on. And so that's kind of how we've done it. So at least I get an opportunity to see all of my kids 6th through 12th. And at least we have an opportunity to kind of play a little bit and kind of go from there.
Yeah, it's like all hands on deck at your school and making it happen. Do your kids have assignments, or do you do anything like assignments or stuff that kids have to submit at this time, or using any sites or something along in that process?
I do, yeah. I mean, we're using Google Classroom, and then all the online stuff, of course, is Zoom. So Google Classroom is just, I basically put on there on Monday what the assignment is going to be for the week. And for both the middle school and the high school. And then every single day, I ask them to go and bump up their tempos like 5 clicks or whatever. And then whenever I do get together with them on like their sectionals or on the Friday Zoom sectional for my drumline, that's really like for the drumline kids, the last opportunity for us to kind of go through that literature before they have to submit the video. And then so they submit videos through Google Classroom as well. And then kind of like what you saw online a few days ago, I put together a video, and I had seen some other programs kind of do this, and I kind of wanted to see like what are they using and what apps are they using. And I know some people have used Acapella, some people have used Pick Play Post. I think there's another one called Grid Play, and I tried to do that. I downloaded those apps, and I basically took my snare line and I kind of tried to put all of them on one screen together. But because of the app, or just kind of because like you can't really you can't line up the audio super well, at least not like with a snare drum. It never sounded good at all. So I got super frustrated, and so I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna bite the bullet. I'm gonna buy some software that will enable me to be able to do that. So there's actually Apple has like a educator bundle pack where you can purchase Final Cut Pro, which is essentially kind of like iMovie except like professional grade. You can also purchase like MainStage, Logic, which is kind of like GarageBand, right? Except at professional level recording software. And then there's like I think there's like 5 programs in total, and they kind of bundle them all together. And it's $199, so it's definitely pricey. But I figured, you know what, like if I want to do this, and I want to be able to provide some videos for my students so that they can kind of listen to it and they can kind of see where they are kind of week to week, then I don't, at least for now, I don't mind doing it. And I only because I know I'll be able to use the software kind of forever, for whatever project I might have coming up, in the future. So Final Cut Pro is the software that I used to merge, videos together. So I got 9 kids on the snare line this coming year. And so So it kind of had, like there's 9 different like little screens, like we've all seen, people kind of do. And so, and the software allows you to, you can get really detailed and you can kind of line things up like from the beginning at least. And so what I wanted to do with my kids was at least start them off together, the very first note, and then kind of see where it kind of goes from there. Now on their end, they've got some sort of like, headphones or AirPods or something, and they're just listening to a metronome. And then they're playing along to the exercise with that click. And then when I merge the videos together, my goal is to kind of see like, okay, well, how well are they staying with the metronome? So that they can kind of see like, okay, well, I have a tendency to kind of rush here or drag here, whatever the case may be. And it was pretty eye-opening. Like the exercise that I posted on Facebook was only maybe like 30 seconds, but like the first 10 seconds of that was actually like pretty sweet. And then as it kind of progressed through the rest of it, you can kind of start hearing and kind of start to tear apart a little bit, And so that was the goal. Like I want them to be able to hear like, okay, on April, whatever we are, like this is how you sound right now. So if we were on actual drums playing this, and you were trying to play it as well as you possibly can to a metronome, this is how you would sound. This is the true and kind of raw, form that you would be in right now. So that's what I'm doing. I'm kind of experimenting with a few other things, but that's essentially, that my main kind of project right now with my kids, with my high school kids, not with the middle school kids.
You make it sound easy.
It's not.
It's not. You learned Final Cut Pro in a week and thrown up this really cool video. Were there any tricks you learned? So there's people out there that are trying to do these things and maybe they have access to that type of software or even any tricks that you found to when you're trying to line things up to make it easier?
Nothing that would be like super groundbreaking right now, but I do want to, especially since that bundle came with Logic, what I do want to do is see if since that's all like kind of audio, right? Like we're not dealing with video with Logic. What I want to do is extract the audio from those videos that they submit, and then in Logic, maybe I can at least balance it out from person to person. Because some kids recorded like kind of a foot away, some kids a little further, whatever. So I kind of had to crop some of that stuff out, and so some of the videos kind of have a little more room, like natural room noise or like kind of natural reverb, or maybe some kids record like in their like in their living room where it's a little more open, and some of them like in their bedroom where it's a little more muffled or whatever. So but what I would like to do is like in Logic try to see if I can extract the audio and then and see if I can at least quantify every single student so that it sounds like it's coming from the same kind of source. And then, like I said, do some leveling, and then put the video together. I think eventually what will be kind of cool, and a lot of people have figured this out. I still haven't done it, but you can get it to the point where you can make it sound perfectly clean, in Logic, and then put it onto Final Cut Pro. But again, that's not my purpose right now. My purpose right now is I want for the kids to be able to see and hear what they sound like, like right now.
So someone that's going to do a video of any sort for whatever app, for a snare drum, let's use the snare since that's the one you did. Is there like a distance that you tell them all? Like you're talking about it's a foot apart, and some people are like, with that, you think that would make a difference?
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing too is some of them use their phones, some of them use laptops, some of them use desktops. So I think the quality of the microphone in each one of those devices is drastically different as well, And so when I shared the assignment with my kids, I tried to be as detailed as possible until I specifically told them, set up your device 4 feet away from you and 5 inches above your playing surface. And I thought, you know what, like I'm going to get all these videos and they're all going to look the same. And that was not the case at all. And so I think again, because I think some of them were like, and they messaged me, they're like, well, when I set it up 4 feet, like you can see everything kind of like around me. Like, are you sure you want me that far away from the shot? And so I was like, oh, okay, well maybe, again, from device to device, it's different, right? Like the pan. And so then I just told them, okay, well in that case, set up as close as you can. so that I can still see the full range of your sticks, and I can see like your pad up to the top of your head, and I can still see maybe like 2 or 3 inches outside of like your elbows. And then go ahead and submit those videos. And then even then, I still got quite a bit of, variety. So yeah, so I think, so the second assignment that I sent out, I did, I made it, I try to be as even more defined as possible. And also like the initial videos, I had them submit in portrait mode, but then I quit once I started putting the videos together, I figured out that square mode, or like, I guess, one-to-one portrait aspect would be better, just because of the fact that, like, you got those kind of perfect squares in the shot. And so yeah, so like I said, I'm kind of learning as we go here too.
Well, those are really helpful tips for someone that's about to dive into that project, and eliminate some of the challenges and to deal with the other challenges. There's so many.
Yeah, or like inside to outside or whatever. I told them all that too. Like, I don't want any videos on drums, because some of them like happen to either own their own snare drum, or they borrowed one from school or whatever. And so I said, I don't want any on drums. I want everyone on a pad. That was the other thing too, because they all have kind of different pads, so it's not, some of them are a little harder than others, so that was tricky too, to try to get like all of them to be as leveled as possible. And so, yeah, so it was definitely a challenge, no doubt.
How long did it take you from when you started working on the project of the videos came in, so after the kids have submitted that, until you were able to produce a video?
Oh man, I mean, right now it still takes me a long time, because I just put that video together, I don't know, maybe like 5 or 6 days ago, something like that. I don't know, probably from the beginning to like once I got the videos and downloaded onto my computer, and I started, doing it and got done with it, maybe a good 4 or 5 hours. So I'm just kind of sitting at the computer and just like, oh shoot, I should probably go get something to eat right now, and then coming back and, kind of finish it up, So yeah, it was a long process, but the second video, maybe that took maybe like 2 or 3 hours.
Okay.
So I think the more that I kind of do this, like it'll get easier, I'll get better at it, and I'll get faster at it. So, but I know so many other guys that and girls that kind of like had so much knowledge with that program already, that I bet you they're like far, like they know exactly what to do, and they kind of have it all kind of figured out, So I bet if somebody kind of already knows that program, it'll probably be way easier and way faster,
And most of us are at home, so we have a little extra time to learn a new project or a new.
Exactly.
Any other tips or any advice on remote teaching that you've kind of learned?
Not necessarily, other than I know that, like, I've tried to do kind of like a sectional, like a live sectional with everybody, where everyone's kind of, playing type of thing. Obviously that doesn't work because of latency. I know, like, I've seen some videos on Facebook where some people have kind of posted like how they kind of figured some stuff out, but I just don't know how to get around that. And like, if everybody has the technology needed in order to really do that and not have to worry about the latency part, so no, not really, nothing right now, that I can necessarily share.
Okay.
that would be helpful.
And you're exactly right. Like, trying to get things to line up. If someone hasn't gone down that rabbit hole yet, don't even try, because it's just a lot of frustration and time, and you realize it's just not really possible very easily done.
Right.
Sure. Any shout outs you have before we wrap this thing up?
Some shout outs. Yes. Okay. I want to shout out to my family for always being there for me and supporting me. So my wife, Brandy, and my daughters, Michaela and Elena. And of course, a shout out to the staff at Vista Ridge High School, and Henry Middle School, and Stiles Middle School as well. And so, and all those fantastic teachers, and all of our parents and all of our students. And I hope everyone's staying safe and healthy, and, and trying to not kill each other in these days, and hopefully they're able to find things to do at home to keep themselves occupied.
Well, very cool. Well, Mr. Gil, thank you for joining us on the Hey Band Network. Anyone watching this video, you're welcome to subscribe to the Hey Band Network on our YouTube channel and follow and like that button on Mr. Gil on how to remote teach in our school closing 2020 and some really great tips on how to do some drumline stuff and how to do some percussion stuff at this time. Mr. Gil, thank you very much for joining me today.
All right. Thank you, Chad. Appreciate it. My pleasure.